Hello! Today we're making Moroccan bread. Hey guys, this is Daniela with Sida Soul. Today we're making a Moroccan bread with anise. You can also use other spices. You can use sesame seeds. You can also use caraway. Whatever you have in the pantry that you like is fine to use. And this is a very wholesome bread, and it can be eaten at different meals. And it's different than like a sourdough. It has a little bit of sweetness. Sometimes we use honey, but today we're going to be using some sugar. So we're going to start with 1 packet of the yeast, and you can always double the recipe to make a larger loaf. And we're adding this to 1 cup of warm water. Just pour it in. You don't want to mix it though, because with the yeast it needs to activate just by staying on the surface. And we're going to let this sit on the side for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to move forward to making the flour. So we have our 3 cups of flour. We're gonna do a ½ teaspoon. And you can use different types of salt. I'm using some nice sea salt, pink Himalayan sea salt, but kosher salt, coarse salt, those all work just fine. Next, we're going to add the anise, but if you want, you can use the sesame instead. 1 teaspoon for the whole loaf. And then we're going to add a little bit of the agave, ½ teaspoon. If you want it a little sweeter, go for a whole teaspoon. And you can also do it without any sweetener. So now we're gonna mix this up, and then we're gonna make a well in the center. And this is pretty common when you're making bread. You wanna make a little well in the middle. All right, so we need to wait about 5 more minutes for the yeast to activate, and then we're going to add it to our mixture. So now we're back, and we're going to add our yeast to our flour mixture. So just pour it in. Remember, we have the center, so we're gonna mix it up just like you do any other dough. You want to make sure it all comes together. And we may need to add a little bit more water. You can add a little bit more flour if we need also. You can also substitute whole wheat, but when you use whole wheat, you definitely want to do half white flour and half whole wheat. It tastes a lot better. Otherwise you get like a really dense dough. All right, so my dough is a little bit dry. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. And remember, we're using warm water, not cold. They're really meant to guide you. You definitely want to follow them as much as you can, but also do what feels right. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because sometimes, just depending on conditions, you need to add a little bit more ingredients. So now it's actually coming together. Once we have it all formed, we're gonna take it out and we're gonna knead it into a nice dough. And it should be getting kind of elastic by this point. What I really like to do with this bread is to eat it toasted with some yummy like butter, a little bit of jam. You can also put some different hummus on it, different spreads. You have enough flour so that nothing sticks when you're kneading the dough. And you wanna have it on your hands too. And the key also is you don't wanna knead it too much, because it makes it too dry. So just enough so that it starts to really form into a nice ball. And my advice too when you're scaling recipes is to do it by 2 at the most, not more, because with baking you have to be more precise. All right, so this is getting nice and formed, forming in a nice ball. And then we're gonna put it into this bowl to rise. And you wanna put a little bit of oil in the bowl so it doesn't stick. And we're gonna use a little bit of our olive oil. And then remember to get some on the sides too, because as it rises, you don't want it to stick to the bowl. All right, so this is good to go. We're gonna let this rise for about an hour, and then we're gonna make some other yummy dishes in the meantime. All right, so we are back with our beautiful bread that's been rising for about 1 hour. And it's nice and it's doubled in size. And we're going to use this to make a couple loaves. It doesn't have to be just one. You can also make some rolls. That would be very delicious. So we're gonna divide it up. And I like to use this one tool. A lot of pastry chefs use this as well, but it cuts also. So we're gonna divide this into 4 parts. And it's a really beautiful kind of elastic dough. You see? It's perfect. So for these 3, we're gonna make just regular rolls. And then we're gonna make a challah out of this. So for this one, we're gonna divide it into 3. You want 3 equal pieces. And you're gonna make a nice kind of a string. You can tell the dough is perfect because it has that elasticity. And this is also something you can have, kids at home help you with. It's always a fun way to bond with your little ones. And I know my nieces love to make challah, so you can use a lot of different doughs to make into like a braid, especially if they have the elasticity. So we're gonna braid it into a nice, just basic braid. You can get fancy and use 6 strands, but today we're just gonna use 3. Okay, we got that first one. And then this one we're just gonna make into a nice, just basic roll. And we're gonna use this one. We'll do all 3 just regular rolls. And because we already put the oil, it's not gonna stick. So this is polenta. You can also, semolina works. Anything made from corn will work really well. Corn or like wheat. This is a nice way to add a little texture, but it also helps so it doesn't stick. So just kind of just sprinkle and just on the bottom. You don't want to do the whole thing. So these are going to go into the oven for about 25 minutes at 400 degrees. Welcome back. We are now ready to taste our delicious Moroccan bread with anise. And we made a few varieties. We're going to start with the challah. It's very traditional in Moroccan Jewish culture, actually, on the Sabbath, to take the bread, and instead of cutting it with a knife, everyone kind of takes a piece, and it's a nice communal way to eat the bread. So we're gonna give a taste, and then we're all gonna try it together. All right, just pull it apart. Nice, beautiful hard crust. Inside's fully cooked. We have a nice bottom as well. I can't wait. Let's try it. That star anise, such a beautiful flavor, and as the days move forward, the flavor is going to be enhanced as well. Very, very good. Wow. I'm definitely making this again.